Alright, hello guys, this is Alan recording another comprehensive Magic the Gathering Arena draft video. With 7k gold, I think I think it's time for us to fire off another quick draft. And the quick draft event is going to be, surprise, Strixhaven again. Okay, and we've done this a couple of times already, did a couple of bot drafts, but I do need to sink my 7k gold into something, so we're just going to do a bot draft for now, and then this will give us enough time to analyze our picks and go over our choices in order to kind of review the format in a sense. So let's give this a shot and see where we end up. And pack one, pick one. Strixhaven, quick draft. What do we have the fine pleasure of opening? A pretty bad rare. Yeah, don't ever pick Witterbloom command. This is the worst command in the set and pretty much doesn't do much. So I wouldn't really even play this in the I wouldn't really even play this in the Witterbloom deck, to be honest. Best cards in this pack are by far Closing Statement, Lash of Malice. Frost Trickster has gone a little bit down for me. I still think it's a solid card, but usually it doesn't really trigger Magecraft, and it's better in a much it's better in a set where blue can be more aggressive, but blue's pretty controlling in this set, and usually a 2/2 flyer just gets blanked since there's a couple of reach creatures that can contest it. But still a fine card when I would play, but I don't judge it as highly as I used to. I think Burying Books is definitely better than Frost Trickster. And then there's also some decent cards at common too. Pigment Storm is also fine. Witterbloom Pledge Mage is also solid. Same with Pest Summoning, Cram Session, and also Leyline Invocation. I think by far, I think the removal spells are what we're looking at. Between Closing Statement and Lash of Malice, it's probably just Closing Statement here, since it can just destroy any creature. And even though it's two colors, if you do end up in Silverquill, this card is quite nutty, because you can just put a counter onto a creature. And then you can still splash this in some sort of Abzan combination if you do end up base Witterbloom, or if you end up in some sort of Mardu deck. It's still quite good, so I think it's Closing Statement here. The more flexible options will be Lash, again, Witterbloom Pledge Mage, Pigment Storm, Frost Trickster. All these cards are all pretty fine. But if Closing Statement was in this pack, I'd probably just take Lash, since it's just so efficient at 1 mana. But Pledge Mage has also kind of overperformed in my experience, and I think this is also a really solid card. But I don't mind just taking a Closing Statement, even though it's two colors. Usually when you want to first begin a draft, you just want to take the most powerful card. That's not necessarily the most flexible, because let's just say you abandon your pack one, pick one, so what? You know, this is a set about really knowing the open colors. Since it's a college format, you can usually find where your open lane is. So then, even if your first pick needs to be abandoned, as long as you find the open lane, you'll get past really powerful cards. But yeah, we'll just take Closing Statement here and see where we end up. After first picking Closing Statement, we see some medium cards. I think Combat Professor is probably the best common out of this pack, along with Spirit Summoning, which is a fine lesson. Funny how Dragon's Approach is a pretty unplayable card in this set, but it's worth $2 in real life. There's also Golden Ratio, which is fine. Typically speaking, Quandary Drix doesn't need a ton of card draw because they already have Eureka Moment on turn 4. But if you don't have much card draw, Golden Ratio could be okay, but still it takes a while to set up. Here I think it's just going to be a Combat Professor over Spirit Summoning. I think I was reading the creature lesson rankings. I think Spirit Summoning is last behind the Pest Summoning. Still a fine lesson, but I think the Combat Professor is just mini Sarah's Angel. 4 mana deal. 4 mana, 3/3 Flying Vigilance, and it plays pretty powerful in the Silverquill decks. So we'll just take it here. If this wasn't this pack, I would take a Spirit Summoning, but yeah, this pack just doesn't seem great at all. But we'll just take a Combat Professor here. And Eliminate. Wow, and Inkling Summoning. Wow, both of these are the best two cards in this pack. Stormkill and Artist haven't been too impressed. Reflective Golem is also really interesting too. This card is going to be at its best in some sort of white aggressive deck with lots of ways to put counters onto creatures. It's still a bit of a build around, but if it does wheel, we can maybe still build around it, since Silverquill cares about putting counters onto the creatures. Between Eliminate and Inkling Summoning, I think I'll just take the Eliminate, since it's just something I'm happy to just cast, can deal with large fractal tokens, and I think just having the removal is more important than the token at this early in the draft where we don't have any learn cards yet. But Inkling Summoning would be just a close second here, just giving us a great lesson we can learn, but I proactively want an Eliminate in this deck, so we'll just take it. A lot of great Silverquill cards, and wow, Professor of Symbology, had we taken the Inkling Summoning, this would have been a great follow-up. But we can still get lessons later. So maybe like Pest Summonings or Expand Anatomies would be great. But yeah, this is by far the best card in the pack. And yeah, it seems like we're just going to be in straight up Silverquill. Just a great 2-drop that can allow you to learn. Some people state that the Hunt for Specimens is not too different from this, and they are kind of close because Hunt for Specimens makes a 1/1 pest that can gain some life. But the 2-power does make a difference, especially if you're on the play. It can definitely chip in for a decent amount of damage. So this is actually a set where little points of power and toughness does matter. If this wasn't in this pack, the best cards are like Ether Helix and Mage Duel, and I guess Snow Day's alright. Maybe I would take the Pest Summoning as a fine lesson, but it seems like we're committed to Silverquill at this point. Or maybe some sort of Lorehold Splashing Black, but yeah, easy Inkling Summoning, just a great lesson. The best creature lesson in the set, you'd be really surprised how a 3-mana 2/1 flower can just run away with games. Especially if you can curve out 2-drop Learn into Inkling Summoning, that's pretty busted. Other great cards include Expressive Iteration, Practical Research, but we'll just take an Inkling Summoning. Stick with our Silverquill plan, and while Guiding Voice, Environmental Sciences. I think Guiding Voice is the best white common in the set. Like, sure, Environmental Sciences is really good, and definitely a card I would usually first pick over Environmental Sciences, but given I'm already in Silverquill, I think I just want the Guiding Voice as potentially more ways to learn, and Silverquill just cares about enhancing the creatures of counters. Environmental Sciences is nice too, but if we're going to be straight up on black-white aggro, we don't necessarily care about splashing too much, so I don't think I need to prioritize the Environmental Sciences. Usually with enough 2-drops we can just curve out nicely. We don't need to really care about hitting our land drops as much by playing the Environmental Sciences, but this is a pretty late one. Also, Quandrix Pledge Mage is great, same with Prismari Pledge Mage, but we'll take a Guiding Voice here. Best white common in the set, and then second best is the Combat Professor. Here, there's an Elemental Summoning token. There's just Leech Fanatic and Divine Strike. Both of these cards are quite good. It's, for our deck, they're not great picks in general. Plum the Forbidden is more of a Witherbloom card. Don't care about that as much. Yeah, so this is a pretty interesting option. The Divine Strike can be pretty useful if you have some Magecraft enablers, but probably just picking up the 2-drop is just more important here to ensure that we have a curve. And then we can always just curve out Leech Fanatic, and this card can be pretty insane with a Guiding Voice counter on it as well. Divine Strike is a fine cantrip, helps you trigger Magecraft, can sometimes pump and trade up, but it's more situational, and we currently don't have any Magecraft cards, so I think I'll just take a Leech Fanatic instead of our safer pick. And for now, I for sure know I'm in Silverquill. Wow, this pack is pretty interesting. There's a Blackish Trudge, Arrogant Poet, and Pillar Drop Rescuer, all pretty good cards. I do like Arrogant Poet, but it's a common, so there's a chance that we can pick up one later. More importantly, we don't have any 3-drops, so I might just prefer the Blackish Trudge here as a fine 4-drop. Usually this card is better in Witherbloom, but can still be fine in Silverquill if we have a decent amount of life gain, like Leech Fanatic. Maybe we pick up Environmental Sciences later. I'll just take it for curve considerations to have something at 3 because, the opponent doesn't have an answer for this. It just hits really hard. And sure, it does trade down a bit, but, a 3-mana 4/3 can... this card also trades up if you're able to untap with it. So it's pretty nice to trade off against like a 4 toughness creature, which is great. And yeah, this card can be really threatening if you just curve out with it. So I think I'll take the Blackish Trudge here as a speculation. Here there's Cram Session, Witherbloom Pledge Mage. Reduce to Memory is also a fine lesson, I don't mind. But might just be these 2 other cards, in fact. I think Witherbloom Pledge Mage is just better than straight up Witherbloom. Usually in the Silverquill decks you want the top-end 5-mana 3/3 flyers. Crime Session is also decent, but usually we can pick up Hunts for Specimens, which is just an easy way to learn. So maybe I just do take the Reduce to Memory in case I need some sort of removal spell against some large threats. And it could always be a fine lesson, so don't mind taking it here. And then I always like 1 copy of Essence Infusion in these Silverquill decks, especially if you can curve out 1 drop into Essence Infusion, it can be kind of gross. So we'll take it over to Pendant. And then, wow, even Reflective Golem Wheel. I think I'll take it over to Allen Shield Mage. As much as I would love an Allen Shield Mage, the Reflective Golems are going to be at its best in the Silverquill decks, since Silverquill cares the most about putting 1/1 counters onto things. So yeah, it'd be pretty insane if we can copy a Guiding Voice or Essence Infusion, and this actually does become a threat that opponents must answer. So I think I like it here. Plus, it's just cheaper to curve out with. And here, could just take a Lorehold Pledge Mage in case we need a filler 3-drop. Beaming Defiance is alright, but the Professor of... Okay, I guess we'll just take a Beaming Defiance anyways. Make Your Mark is kind of meh. And then we'll take a Professor's Warning. I like having at least one copy of this in any Silverquill Witterbloom deck. Don't necessarily like 2 copies, but 1 copy is fine. But yeah, it seems like Silverquill is really open in this draft pod, and yeah, that does put a smile on my face and does make me happy. So let's continue. Ooh, Swords to Plowshare. What else is there? Not much. Mage Hunter's Onslaught, but yeah, 1 mana exile anything is a good card. Otherwise, there's also Elemental Expressionist and Rutha, which are both pretty insane. Pack one, pick one. It'd be pretty hard between Swords, Elemental Expressionist, and Rutha. One is more committal. This you can at least splash, and it's just a great removal spell. Yeah, I'll probably still take Swords here, just very efficient at 1 mana. Elemental Expressionist, you really need to play this in a straight-up Prismari deck, since it's pretty hard to triple, quadruple 4, quadruple red. But Rutha is also really close to Elemental Expressionist, but they're both quite powerful in their own rights, but I think we just take Swords to Plowshare here. It makes sense what we have. And we do need to prioritize some threats, although the Promising Dusk Mage is not really that exciting. I do like Expand Anatomy in the Silverquill decks, though. Like, I'm not against playing the Promising Dust Mage, especially since we have a couple ways to put counters with the Closing Statement, Essence Infusion, and the Guiding Voice and Professor's Warning. But usually these tend to wheel, so I'm happier just taking Expand Anatomy for the sideboard as a good lesson. Other good cards include Electrolyze, Mage Duel. Yeah, but we'll just take an Expand Anatomy here. Rutha, pretty late. I do like my 1-drop Menace creature, especially with Essence Infusion in the deck. And yeah, I don't hate this card. 1 mana, 1/1 Menace can go a long ways. Otherwise, Spiteful Squad is okay, but it's kind of clunky at 4. Usually there's just better 4-drops like Mage Hunter's Onslaught and Combat Professor. I think I just have to take these unwilling ingredients. Kind of insane passing up a Rutha here, but it is what it is. This is, and welcome to Strixhaven draft. Also, when Mind Pilgrimage Age is also really solid in the Silverquill decks, but I think the Pledge Mage just does more work. We're trying to be an aggressive deck, not necessarily grindy. This does help me hit my land drop for turn 4, but the Silverquill Pledge Mage, I've actually really think this card is incredibly powerful in the Silverquill decks, especially if you can trigger Magecraft and get it flying constantly. It actually becomes a really scary threat. So I think I'll take it here. Yeah, but you know, there's also the. Otherwise, this is also a fine 3-drop, but I think I like the Silverquill Pledge Mage here. Okay, I don't really mind Show of Confidence, but we do need more creatures in this deck. And I don't mind a second Leech Fanatic, to be honest. I mean, because we're gonna have to be creature heavy in the Silverquill decks. As much as I like Show of Confidence, which you can kind of combo off with the Guiding Voices and some of these cheap other instances. It's only really 2 mana to put a counter. I think I'd rather just have ensure that I have a second 2-drop, since I don't have much at 2, other than like an Essence Infusion or something. Just need to ensure we have cheaper threats to curve out with, so I'll take another Leech Fanatic. Not a big fan of the Stonerise Spirit, seems pretty bad. In case, I guess, we open up Killian, the Exhilarating Elocution could be fine, but it's also not a very good card. In terms of removal, we have 1 Closing Statement, 1 Eliminate, 1 Swords to Plowshare. We could also make a case for a Defend the Campus, but it's really between these two. I think Stonerise Spirit is pretty bad. Not by any means unplayable, but not great in Silverquill. So it's kind of tough between these two. You know, might just prefer to Defend the Campus, since the Essence Infusion does almost the exact same thing as Exhilarating Elocution. In case we don't have a removal, sometimes it's nice to just have a Defend the Campus to pump your team and deal with a large threat, so we'll take it here. And ooh, this could just be a clever Lumimancer deck. We do have double Leech Fanatic already, but you know, if we pick up more Guiding Voices, this card can be quite insane. Definitely one of the cards you shouldn't sleep on in a Silverquill deck. It can get pretty busted if you can load up a bunch of counters onto it. So, yeah, I'll speculate over Leech Fanatic since I have 2 of them already. I think I can take a clever Lumimancer. And, yeah, we'll take a Promising Dust Mage, although there's just a Silverquill Campus, which is probably just better. We could use 1 copy to help me fix my mana. Dust Mage is fine. Again, if we have ways to put counters onto it, it's better than it looks. But we'll just take a Campus here. And we'll take a Pillar Drop Rescuer, since we could use a 5-drop threat that can return something from the graveyard to the battlefield, so this seems pretty good. And then we'll just take a Promising Dust Mage anyways. Again, guys, I'm not high on this card, but it's pretty decent, you know. If you can put a counter onto it, a 3/4 creature that draws you card can be pretty solid, so definitely don't think this is a bad card. It's actually not that bad. I don't think any of these matter. Well, we got all these Defended Campuses, so had we taken the Elocution, Exhilarating Elocution, we would have had a little bit more diversity. But wow, is this like the 5th pick Defend the Campus? I guess that's the reason why the 2nd pack was so bad. So, anyways, let's move on. Hopefully 3rd pick gets better. And wow, I do like the Hall of Oracles. Guiding Voice is great. Apprentice is fine. Same with the Allen Shield Mage. But it has to be the Hall of Oracles. Yeah, if we have, I mean, especially with like now a promising Dusk Mage, anytime we can just trigger Magecraft and put a counter onto a creature is quite busted. And this, you can just play this in any deck. So going to be the pick here. Pack 1 pick 1 would be Hall of Oracles, and then 2nd pick would be between Shock and Guiding Voice. I just like how this card learns, but Shock is just too efficient to pass up. But we'll take a Hall of Oracles here. Going to be at its best in Silverquill too. I do like Thunderous Orator as well, just gives us a good 2-drop. And with the Menace creatures and the Lifelink, it can be quite solid. And if we do end up still playing the Lorehold Pledge Mage, it can also give it First Strike. But yeah, just a 2-mana 2/2 Vigilance Flying can be pretty solid in a deck like this. Otherwise, we'd probably be looking like maybe an Expand Enemy or an Unwilling Ingredient. Currently, we don't have too many ways to learn, unfortunately. But hopefully, we find more ways to learn to make it more easier to grab these cards, like another Guiding Voice or Lash of Malice and the Mage Hunter's Onslaught. Darn, this is not easy for us. In terms of cheat removal, we do have Eliminate. We do have Swords to Plowshare. The more expensive removal would be Closing Statement, but it's already cheap anyways. I do like 2nd Guiding Voice with Clever Lumimancer and just having a 2nd way to learn, though. But Lash is also really good. Same with the Mage Hunter's Onslaught. Let's just say we don't play the Clever Lumimancer. Are we still fine with that? I just want the 2nd way to learn with the Guiding Voice. But Lash is just probably just too good here, right? Mage Hunter's Onslaught would also be an upgrade over Defend the Campus as well. So lots of interesting choices here. The question is, what type of deck are we trying to be? I think we're just trying to curve out and be very aggressive, right? In that case, maybe Guiding Voice is just a better pick. But 2-mana Lash is just really nice. Since I do have ways to just pump my creatures already, I think I'll just take a Lash of Malice. I could use 1 copy, but I'm not... I hate passing up the Guiding Voices, but I do like a Hunt for Specimens on turn 2 as an extra way to learn. Mage Hunter's Onslaught is also really good, but I think the Hunt for Specimens is just more important, giving us an extra way to learn now, trigger Magecraft for the Clever Lumimancer, and then help us get some of these lessons from the sideboard. So sure, I'll take it over Mage Hunter's Onslaught. And then there's an Academic Probation, which is fine. Tenured Innkeeper could be okay if we have some extra flyers, but overall, I'm not a big fan of it. Probation is very medium. Both these cards just suck. This is like 2-mana, lock a creature down for a turn, which isn't entirely terrible, but it's not like a great card or anything. I also am not a really big fan of the Tenured Innkeeper, but I might just take it here, since I don't really like Academic Probation, and can give us something to play at 5. I guess there's an Introduction to Annihilation, or just another 2-drop for this deck. Go Blank is main deckable, but not exciting. His spell is not very good in an aggressive deck. Intro is fine, but we might not even need it. Maybe we just take a 2nd 2-drop. Just need more aggressive creatures to curve out with this deck. And then I guess we'll just take a Witherbloom Pledge Mage as an upgrade over the Tenured Innkeeper. I think I'm totally fine with that exchange. Just a nice chunky body. And wow, even a Pilgrim of the Ages is nice. The rest is fine, but I do like Pilgrim. I think it's really solid in these aggressive Silverquill decks. Just allowing us to hit a land drop can be really nice. And it's just a nice, decent grinding card to have as well. So I do like the Pilgrim of the Ages. And wow, late Guiding Voice. Wow, late Allen Shield Mage, late Silverquill Apprentice. Yeah, I think it's just a 2nd Guiding Voice. We could use more ways to pump these Clever Lumimancer and Unwilling Ingredients. Otherwise, they just aren't that powerful in the deck. Yeah, I think we have enough 2s. We don't need Apprentice. I could use another Allen Shield Mage, but I think the Guiding Voice is just better. And then we'll play another Unwilling Ingredient, maybe. We'll see. Ooh, another Guiding Voice. I guess we'll just play as many Guiding Voices, and then we can just cut the Professor's Warning, right? I could play double copy of Clever Lumimancer, but doesn't seem necessary. I'll take it over to Eager First Year. But yeah, just a really interesting pack. I might actually just play Exhilarating Elocution over Defend the Campus now, actually. It seems much better for our deck. Now with the Clever Lumimancer, it seems pretty good. So yeah, pretty interesting draft, but we do need to make maybe like 1 or 2 cuts. I think I like all the Guiding Voices as I can. I mean, even if you don't learn, we don't have much to learn. They just draw us. They just help us learn, which is quite nice. So I think we can go 16 lands since our curve is relatively low. This is mostly like a 3-drop. I think I need to keep the 5 drops. I might need this Exhilarating Elocution on 4, but I could also swap it for Defend the Campus. 3 drops. The Promising Dust Mage isn't terrible with the triple Guiding Voice. But I'm also just liking the better 2 drops here. Could just cut the Essence Infusion. Although it's pretty good with the Unwilling Ingredient here. So let's see. Let's move these aside. Closing Statement we're definitely playing. And then the Eliminate we're definitely playing. Yeah, Essence Infusion might not be necessary. 2 mana, give 2 creatures a counter is nice, but we do have Exhilarating Elocution on 4, which can do almost the same thing, but pump the whole team, which could be more useful. So maybe Essence Infusion can go. In terms of removal, we do have some decent amount of removal. Defend the Campus is more situational. I think maybe just pumping the team is better, because I do like these effects in these aggressive go wide archetypes. So out of all the other cards in this pack, the weaker cards include like Promising Dusk Mage, which I don't really like. How much life gain do we have with the Blackish Trudge? Double Leash Fanatic, Hunt for Specimens could be okay. And I guess the Witherbloom Pledge Mage also gains life, so I don't actually mind the Blackish Trudge. These other 3s look better. Eager First Year is kind of more the weaker 2 drops. Or I could just maybe cut one Unwilling Ingredient for the deck. Or I can just cut the Clever Lumimancer, but the Clever Lumimancer with triple Guiding Voice is absolutely nutty. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? Let's cut the Unwilling Ingredient and just play something like this. And it seems totally fine. Like, the Promising Dust Mage isn't great, but the fact that you can put a counter onto it and draw a card could be pretty decent. The question is, how many ways can I put counters onto something? 3, 4? 4 ways to put counters onto something? 5? Like, I guess there's only 5 ways to put counters onto something, so I guess it's not even really that great. I guess with the Hall of Oracles it gets better, so never mind. But I'm also liking the second Unwilling Ingredient, actually. Let's see. Let's look at the lessons. So we have 3 lessons to grab, and then how many learn cards do we have? 5 learn cards. Okay, so it seems pretty reasonable. And then I don't really like the Tenured Innkeeper. The cards I'm considering is maybe Essence Infusion, the Unwilling Ingredient. Professor's Warning is also interesting. Same with Defend the Campus. Beaming Defiance is a little bit worse than the rest of these other cards. So I don't know what to do here. You know what? We'll just keep it like this. I think I need the problem. The Dust Mage can be pretty solid in this type of deck. And then hopefully we can just curve out 1 drops into 2 drops into 3 drops and just run away with the game, hopefully. And then I think this is 16 lands, keep it even split. 7, 8, 7, 8. So yeah, 8 black, 8 white sources in a Hall of Oracle seems pretty decent. Let's see. We do have a decent amount of ways to trigger Magecraft. 15 creatures seems reasonable. I mean, double Unwilling Ingredient would be better with the Essence Infusion, but I don't know if I can throw in an Essence Infusion. Guiding Voice is just so much better. You know what? Let's try it out like this. Let's give this a shot. Let's see how this deck Let's see how this deck performs. Alright, opening hand. There's a Clever Lumimancer on one, although I'm probably more interested in playing an Unwilling Ingredient since I don't have Guiding Voices. Seems okay. And we can just start chipping in, and eventually we can drop the Clever Lumimancer and pump it and attack. Don't necessarily want to play swords as too early, so I think the Unwilling Ingredient can at least deal a little bit of damage. And then we can always play land, and if we get another planes, we can Leech Fanatic and play the white mana spell. Guiding Voice, that might change the equation. But I think I'm still gonna just curve out the Leech Fanatic here. Yeah, we'll still curve out Leech Fanatic just to be mana efficient. And we can always play the second copy and then Clever Lumimancer the following turn. Could also just pump the Unwilling Ingredient too with the Guiding Voice, which could also be reasonable. If he passes a turn, there's a chance he has an Arcane Subtraction, so I might not want to attack into this. But I do have Swords to Plowshare to to blow this out. Although if the arcane subtraction resolves, then he still gets the summoning, so it's still not that great. Pretty interesting turn. Could just attack with all. If he double blocks, I'm willing to trade the unwilling ingredients. And then just play Clever Lumimancer into Leech Fanatic. And then maybe set up a Swords for the Needlethorn Drake. Could also Swords now in Leech Fanatic. But I think this is okay. Totally fine with this exchange. And then we can develop the board, use Swords on the Needlethorn Drake, and then start pumping the team with the Guiding Voice, which seems fine. Letter. Okay, so this could just be the turn. Although there's a Quandrix Apprentice, which is very annoying. But I think I definitely want the Swords to Needlethorn Drake right now before it becomes a nuisance. We can trigger Magecraft on the Clever Lumimancer. And then I could just use Guiding Voice on the Unwilling Ingredients. If he double blocks, I don't mind as well. Unwilling Ingredient can be pretty powerful, but so does a 3/3. Lifelinker can be pretty good. Although he could just double block the Unwilling Ingredient, so I think I still put a counter onto this to diversify a bit. And then we can also grab Expand Anatomy or Inkling Summoning. Probably just want our first copy of Inkling Summoning. And then we can also just attack with both, which is pretty nice. I actually want to trade off for the Quandrix Apprentice since this is just such a great card. Yeah, I'm actually excited with this block, so this is quite good. We get to get it for 3, but he doesn't get to draw lands. And then we can just pass a turn. Well, that makes things a little bit more rough. But I guess it's just Inkling Summoning here, and I guess we're fine trading the Clever Lumimancer for Biomathematician. Or just trade it for the Biomathematician seems okay. Eventually I can just draw a card, so I don't mind just taking out the Mathematician here. Just reduce the power and toughness on the board. And hopefully we can use the Unwilling Ingredient and start Mage Crafting with the Clever Lumimancer with Guiding Voices. Springmane Servant, okay, that's a good one. And Zamone, Jesus. Okay. We have a long way to go, and Guiding Voice on Clever Lumimancer can be quite nice. Or just put on the 2/1, maybe that's just better. I guess I want Anatomy on the 2/1, or Reduce the Memory on the Zamone, but I think Expand Anatomy is way better here, and then we can just load up more counters. And the question is, am I fine attacking a ball? I think I am. Force a chump and trade for the 3/2. Hopefully no burying books. He can easily hold burying books and take out my token, but I think I need to still start attacking with this with this deck. Oh wow, Mascot Exhibition, but he needs to get to 7 mana with it. Jesus, that's going to be a little bit rough. Although, dealing with the flyer isn't going to be the easiest. So I'm probably going to have to use closing statement here just to get in an attack, and I think I will. Simone is just too powerful here. I guess he just needs one more mana to, Wow, and he just concedes, Jesus. Okay. Just too much pressure. Right, not bad. Okay, well, Clever Lumimancer and one with Guiding Voice and Hall of Oracles. Wow, this is pretty insane. This is going to be a pretty explosive start. And you guys can see how Clever Lumimancer can just completely get out of hand if it isn't answered right away. So hopefully no Lash of Malice. And blue-green, there's no Lash of Malice. There is the Quandary's Apprentice, which I think is worth eliminating here. Since he can just draw a bunch of lands, I think it's really important to uncommon to kill right away. And then next turn, hopefully we can set up the Guiding Voice or just play the Silverquill Pledge Mage. File Mathematician, sure. Okay, you know what? Let's get the Silverquill Pledge Mage. Or I could Guiding Voice and put a counter onto this. I think the Pledge Mage is just better since it gives us an evasive threat. And I might start loading up counters onto the Silverquill Pledge Mage instead. Frost Trickster tapping down the Pledge Mage, I think. Yep. So that's going to slow us down a bit. I think I'm fine taking the hit. And then I can maybe play out a Leech Fanatic and do some work. So what can I do here? I guess I could Leech Fanatic, put a counter here, and then put a counter onto a Leech Fanatic. I think that's quite good. So let's Clever Lumimancer here. We'll give it lifelink, it doesn't matter. And then we'll grab an Inkling Summoning, I think, and then now we can use the Hall of Oracles, put a counter onto the Leech Fanatic. Yeah, and then we can also smack for 3. Cultivator, sure. So I probably want the Swords, the Frost Tricksters to start flying over, I think. Because I need some sort of evasive win condition in this type of deck. The Quandrix Pledge Mage is also a little bit annoying. But I think the game plan now is just to fly over. Actually, no, we don't want to do that. Yeah, we want the Swords, the Frost Trickster here, I think. And then we want to give them flying. We want to play land, cast a Frost Trickster, the Inkling Summoning token. Let's give lifelink. And I think I just want to distribute counters onto... yes, put on the Pledge Mage here. And then we can attack with both of these. And this is really powerful. Otherwise I could attack with the Leech Fanatic, but he's just going to chump. So might as well just force it here. And and then just load up counters onto all my flyers and start going to town. Sure. So he probably has I think he probably has the burying books here, but I think we still cast the guiding voice. Put it onto. Could even put on the leech fanatic, but he's just gonna double block. Or put on the clever lumimancer just to diversify my threats. You know what? Let's actually put it onto the 2/1. I think I'm fine with that still. Guess a 3-mana instant could just be Mortality Spear. Yep, just eliminate. Okay. So I don't get to learn, but I can at least pop my creature and fly. And I guess I can start loading up counters still onto Clever Lumimancer. Although I probably want to put on the Pledge Mage. Or put on the Leech Fanatic could be pretty interesting. He's going to double block the Leech Fanatic, but I still get to take out the 3/4. You know what, let's actually just put it onto the flyer. Let's not waste time. We can still closing statement the Fractal Summoning token, give my creatures flying, attack. Because there's no point in pumping my ground creatures if he's just going to play a large threat anyways. So the game plan is probably just to fly over anyways in the air. Mage Duel, sure. Well, I guess that will slow us down. That sucks. I guess we might want to just closing statement next turn and attack with both. He's going to make a 4/4 token. Could always attack and Lash of Malice here. I guess I could Lash of Malice at 2/2, put a counter onto the Leech Fanatic. Seems quite good. Or put a counter onto... Yeah, I think I want to get in for a 4 lifelink. Seems fine. And hopefully no burying books, otherwise doesn't feel good. Do I want to attack with this as well? Nah, let's just attack with a 4/4. Seems okay. No burying books, please. Yeah, just a flunk. Okay, so at least all the removal spells are gone. We can at least closing statement on the Fractal token and attack next turn. And this is going to become a 4/4. Another land could go a long way since I can also load up an extra counter onto this with the Hall of Oracles and start attacking across. Land is good, so now we can play land. We can cast a closing statement. Put a counter. And then put up another counter. And then, yeah, we can attack for 5, which is great. So I need to trigger Magecraft one more time to allow this to attack past the Quadrix Cultivator. The Blackish Trudge is okay. Yeah, I'll play a Blackish Trudge and start going to town. No reason to attack here, just say go. Alright, gonna attack with the Blackish Trudge here. Could always attack with both. I don't mind that. Scry indicates he doesn't have much. I do have a couple of flyers left in the deck too that can help me close out the game. And then we'll just pass a turn. Hunt for specimens is great. And I might want to put the counter onto the hunt token. So yeah, Clever Lumimancer is no joke with triple guiding voice. Okay, Professor Symbology. Yeah, I'll play it. As much as I would like black mana to have an eliminate up, I think it's worth casting this into an Inkling summoning. Hello. Nice emote you got there, opponent. Yeah, let's Professor here. And I think I'm still fine grabbing the summoning token. As much as I like Expand Anatomy with the Reflective Golem, I think that's just going to be better in the late game. Prismar Apprentice. Don't mind trading for this, actually, or Lash. Lash can be pretty effective here. I think I'll try that, and then play out the Thunderous Orator instead. So yeah, always the first copy of Lash is really good. Just a shock effect early on can go a long way, and the Eliminate can eventually answer another token or a threat here, like the Quandrix Pledge Mage, which I think we should just kill on sight, and not waste too much time trying to think hard on. Yeah, we'll grab the Expand Anatomy, and then we'll swing for 5. And then the Summoning Token can give this flying as well, so I do want to load up a counter onto this. As much as I would like to diversify 2 toughness isn't that great. So probably a Burying Books here, so I could just play around it and cast an attack for just a Professor. And I think I will, because I feel like there's a Burying Books here. And if he buries this, at least I can... just a subtraction, okay. So I guess I missed out on 3 damage. Sure. I can give this flying next turn. You could also negate this. Okay. Okay, so that... so you could still have a Burying Books, Twin Scroll Shaman. Not too afraid of that. Could always Swords it. Might just want to Expand Anatomy, I guess. Seems fine that we can Swords to 4/4 next turn. I do want to attack with all my threats, so I think this is fine. And this is just a ton of damage. You can try to go all in with the double strike, but I'm still at 20 life, so I should be okay. Okay, so he probably has a double strike trick for 3 mana. Can just Exhilarating Elocution, I guess. Could also just keep up Reflective Golem. Yeah, I don't mind just casting Exhilarating Elocution on the 2/1 and seeing what's up. And he needs like some sort of instant here to disrupt the effect. I can still attack with both. He can trade here and chump. Okay, I guess this is lethal. I mean, he could just Swords here. I mean, Burying Books to 4/3 and then chump and then... Yep. So I don't get the flying here, but at least the opponent is forced to chump here, which is still good for me. Yeah, and this is probably just game over. So yeah, I could just Swords here and attack, and I think it's game. Actually, no. I guess we're 1 off, but still fine. Hopefully no board wipe. Yep. I wish the quick draft was another set, honestly. Getting tired of Strixhaven. Because it's either you draft Team or Controllers or the Silverquill decks. Really. Okay, I mean, this doesn't seem bad. 1 drop and a 2 drop plus Lash and Swords. Seems pretty reasonable. Ooh, I guess this is also a menace creature, so yeah, Thunderous Orator doing a lot of work with these combinations, and then we can easily answer a 2-drop or a 3-drop here. Even though land is great, so yeah, let's move to combat. And wow, it gains menace. And then no reject. Yeah, this is just disgusting. I can even attack him for 3 and a turn closing statement onto another creature. This is just an easy Lash of Malice target. So let's just get rid of it now. And just smash. And we can end a turn Swords to Plowshare as well. And probably see a Burying Books here. Yeah, let's just move to combat. I guess I want to play the Leech Fanatic first to have the extra lifelink if he doesn't target the Thunderous Orator. Wow, even nothing. Yeah, and he's just dead. Wow. Yeah, we might just clean sweep this quick draft if no one really puts on a challenge for us. Or I'm probably just getting really lucky and just being and just boasting here. But maybe against another Silverquill deck, we might have some more challenge. But we'll keep playing. Maybe the 7-0 can get us out of the dumpster rankings. I guess we have 1-drop and 2-drop. I mean, I'm hoping I can get white mana. But I mean, 1-drop and 2-drop is still good here. And then hopefully we eventually draw into white mana since we're on the draw. So I think I'm fine keeping this. So an opposing Silverquill deck, sure. Arrogant Poet's pretty decent. Alright. Need our 3rd land here at least. Okay, so we could just get totally owned throughout this draft if we don't get our white mana next turn, because I would love to Pilgrim of the Ages and get my 2nd planes. If he Guiding Voices onto this, I might block it. Humiliate. Alright, he gets to take out all of our cards. I guess the 2 key cards that he wants to answer are Professor Symbology or Pilgrim of the Ages here. Pretty hard decision. It's really between these 2. Since this is going to allow me to hit my land drops, this is just a great card by itself. Okay, he wants to get rid of the Learn card. Makes sense. And I'm fine trading the Leech Fanatic for the Arrogant Poets or just swinging back. You can also have the stupid combat trick. I guess he's just going to pay the life. Alright, no white mana, so this could just be a game where we lose. Could see a Lash of Malice on the 2-2, but we'll swing in the team. Took a risk, and sometimes you don't get lucky, but it is what it is. So we might just fall behind against this Silverquill deck now if he manages to just keep playing lands and curving out. Because missing these land drops are definitely brutal, so So you might just go all in with this Arrogant Poet. Star Pupil, it's pretty annoying. Guess this can chump the 2/2. If he puts counters on the Star Pupil, it's a little bit annoying. I guess now he can just put counters on the Arrogant Poets. Sure, that's a pretty cute combo. He doesn't have to pay it as well. Alright, just more black mana. I guess we'll keep swinging. And the 2 life is actually kind of useful here. If I get white mana, I might just Guiding Voice and then Clever Lumimancer, I think. I mean, Guiding Voice and then play like an Inkling Summoning to be mana efficient. Sure. Might have to step a turn where I force him to pay this. Guess we have a second Leech Fanatic, which could be okay. So I might just take 4, hopefully find white mana to pump this up. Attack, and then play cast maybe an Expand Anatomy. Yeah, Combat Professor's really good here. Giving him Vigilance as well, so... yeah, we might just get mana screwed here, but it is the name of the game. Decides to give it flying. Very interesting. Very interesting. White mana finally. So we could Exhilarating Elocution and go all in on this Unwilling Ingredient, pump the team, and also just attack. I'm not actually against that, since it's also mana efficient. I could also Guiding Voice on the Leech Fanatic and attack, but he might just trade. Lots of interesting options here. You know what? You only live once, right? So maybe we just Exhilarating Elocution. If we Guiding Voice, we can get an Inkling token, but that doesn't really deal with much. I think I like the Exhilarating Elocution here. And hopefully, we have to go all in because we're kind of on the back foot. And I don't want to keep getting smacked by an Arrogant Poet here. And I do want to gain this 3 life. Wow, he just takes it. I guess he might think that he has a way to kill us here. That's very interesting. Not sure if I would have done that as well, but but we'll see. But he might have to stay back against his Unwilling Ingredient. I guess he can also give his creature Vigilance. I guess I don't mind trading for the Arrogant Poet then. Yeah, I guess he can free roll us here. I mean, he can give 1 creature Vigilance. He can attack me for 5 here. But then he still needs to deal with this Menace threat here, so I guess I'll take 5, which I don't think I'll die, and then hopefully we can find a way across this. Passes the turn. That's quite odd. So I might just want to Pilgrim of the Ages first. Don't think Pillar Drop Rescuer is going to do anything, same with the Clever Lumimancer. I think I need to cast this Pilgrim of the Ages first. Get my White Source so I at least have a creature. Yeah. And I probably just want to put the counter onto the Leech Fanatic here, just to gain some life. And then could always reduce the memory or Inkling Summoning. Don't think Inkling Summoning can deal much against this 2/3, so probably Expand Anatomy is just a better choice here, and I think we'll just attack with both. And hopefully he doesn't have Study Break. If he has removal, that's okay. I can still take out this Arrogant Poet. And maybe force a trade with the Combat Professor next turn. Plum, okay. That's interesting. Alright. I'll go for it. I guess he messed up here. Yeah, he shouldn't have taken the damage, I don't think. I'm not gonna say anything. Crushing disappointments. Alright. Pretty interesting match. I think the opponent did make a misplay by allowing my Leech Fanatic to constantly connect. But I think he would have definitely won that if he played it a little bit more carefully. Because I was definitely mana screwed for the most part in this game, but you never know. People do make interesting decisions. But we're currently 5-0. Let's get a 7-0 here, hopefully, and celebrate. So it definitely seems like drafting quick draft is a lot easier than facing against Premier Draft opponents. So currently 5-0. Just need 2 more wins. Shouldn't be too difficult. And if we do sweep this quick draft, I think it might have something to do with the bot drafting instead of facing against a real life pod. I think, since I don't usually have great results like this. This hand doesn't look great. We can cast a Leech Fanatic on 2. Need white mana though. Do I risk it here? I don't think I do. I think we'll take our first mulligan. This hand's also not great, but I'll keep, and then we can bond the Witherboom Pledge Mage. Since it's kind of expensive, hopefully draw into some white mana, put a Guiding Voice on our Promising Dust Mage, and go from there. Okay. Ooh, Skirt Colony. At least it's not like the... I mean, I can always just kill that and put a counter on my Unwilling Ingredient. I think that's a play. Just so efficient here. Two Menacers already a problem, like a bit of a problem on turn 2. This is killing on except without too much of the busted stuff. And wow, 3-drop is good, so we could Guiding Voice here, but I think we just want to play, like, I guess we just want to play the Promising Dust Mage, eventually put counters onto it. And then maybe set up a turn where we can, like, kill this Vortex Runner and attack. Augmenter Pugilist, that's a good one. Can cast Blackish Trudge, or I can just exile it this turn, put a counter onto the Promising Dust Mage and attack. Because this card is going to be a little bit of a problem later. And if I do attack, he can just set up a double block. And we don't have double white mana, unfortunately, so I think we actually Swords this. And I think I do just put a counter onto the Promising Dust Mage so we can attack past the Vortex Runner and we can get in for 5. Another land would be great since I can Blackish Trudge and Guiding Voice as well. Yeah, using turn 3 to just draw a card and play a land is not where you want to be. He could use Arcane Subtraction, but I guess this implies he doesn't have anything. Could always eliminate this, but I don't see it as a real threat as of right now. Blackish Trudge seems good since it will come. We can attack with it next turn. We can kill this. We can put a counter onto this as well. So now what? Could eliminate this. Put a counter on a Blackish Trudge attack. Could Guiding Voice as well. Lots of options. Could just eliminate. Yeah, I think I do want to eliminate and put counter onto something here. I guess we want to put a counter onto the Blackish Trudge. He can double block the Unwilling Ingredients. Or I guess I can Guiding Voice onto this. But it seems better to just eliminate here, I think. That resolved pretty quickly, so I guess now I can put a counter onto the Blackish Trudge. He'll just chump it though. Or trade. He can just double block this, which I'm fine with, you know. He can double block the Unwilling Ingredients, I think. Or I can just put a counter onto this. You know what, let's put a counter onto it as well. And then we can also just learn for an Inkling Summoning. And then now he just doesn't have great blocks. He might have to triple block the Blackish Trudge, but he'll take 6. Could have the stupid bearing books, but he didn't. But everything seemed to resolve quickly, so I think I'm fine with this exchange. And we can still put a counter with the Hall of Oracles next turn, the Inkling summoning. So yeah, easy 6-0. So this is probably the fastest run I've ever done, and it shows the power of Silverquill. The aggro deck can get there. Alright, 6-0, let's do this. 7-0, let's not waste time. Get to the final boss. Get to show off this interesting draft that we just did. I'm hoping we can 7-0 this, but this is close. The final boss might just be something scary at number 44 Mythic, but maybe we can cheese him out, we'll see. This doesn't look like a great hand. We can cast a Silverquill Pledge Mage on turn 3. Hall of Oracles is very good, but if we don't have white mana, this is going to become a problem. So I think I'll go for the Mull here. And this hand looks slightly better. I think I'll keep. Blackish Trudge is pretty nice with the Leech Fanatic. Thunderous Orator is also very good. Lots of interesting options here. I guess Thunderous Orator can go because we just want Leech Fanatic with Blackish Trudge. I think that's a pretty good combo. Otherwise, if I keep the Thunderous Orator, ditch the Leech Fanatic, that doesn't seem great. Or I could just bomb a land, actually. Bombing land also doesn't seem bad, but with single white, I think I'll just ditch the Thunderous Orator. Don't want to take too many unnecessary risks. And we can play a Leech Fanatic into Blackish Trudge. Stonerise Spirit. Okay. Guess, yeah, we'll show them the second color. I don't think it matters that much. Number 44 Mythic, okay. With a Stonerise Spirit on turn 2. Star Pupil. Probably was going to plan on chumping and then putting the counter onto the Stonerise Spirit, which I'm not against. I could also hunt for specimens and put a counter onto this, but it doesn't seem great. I think we'll just attack for 2, and then if he does chump, he could also Professor's Warning and then put 2 counters onto this, but then I can kill this with Closing Statement eventually. Yeah, he probably has the okay, Divine Strike. It's only 1 counter, that's for sure. That's okay. Blackish Trudge hits pretty hard. And then we can just put a counter onto this next turn if we want to as well. Attack, okay. Clever Lumimancer, interesting. Into Shadewing Laureates, I guess that can block now. Professor Symbology is also very interesting. But I think I just like Guiding Voice onto this, right? And then I guess we want to just bring out the Inkling Summoning this turn. Play land attack for 5. Seems pretty good. Then we can play Inkling Summoning. And he might just go off with a Clever Lumimancer, but I'm hoping he doesn't. We'll have to maybe take a huge hit for the turn. But the 2-1 can maybe trade for the Shadewing Laureate, but if he's able to just put counters onto this and pump the Clever Lumimancer, it's going to be pretty huge. So I might be a little bit too scared of that. We'll see. Land would also be nice if we can keep up a Closing Statement at instant speed. He's probably going to tap with a Stonerise Spirit. Do I even block this? I think he has a Pump Trick at instant speed, so I'm probably not going to block it here. I feel like there's definitely something here. Otherwise, I mean, this trade would be quite good. But, I mean, if he's just going to play something out like this, and I'm constantly attacking it for 5, then that's going to be a little bit suspicious. Yeah, let's attack with both. I'm fine with trading for the Shadewing Laureate. 5 is a lot of damage. He could have his own Defiant Strike on this Blackish Trudge. But yeah, the damage here is really insane. I think I like getting the Lifelinker out. And I think I also like the Professor Symbology. And we want to grab Expand Anatomy here. And then pass the turn. I could chump the Clever Lumimancer with a 2-1 as well. Mavinda is pretty good. Although, I guess he can cast a Defiant Strike now. At instant speed, which could be pretty powerful. I guess I can Closing Statement onto Mavinda. You can pay 0 mana, cast it. Killing Mavinda here isn't the worst. Could also expand Anatomy. Here, lots of options. Yeah, lots of interesting options here. I could Closing Statement on Mavinda. I think I will. This is just too strong. And then I do want to put a counter onto Leech Fanatic, I think. Or onto the 2/1 Flyer. Or onto Professor Symbology. You know what? Let's put it on the Professor. I think I'm fine offering a trade. Although, if a Flyer dies, he can just put a counter onto his creature. Which is not great. Yeah, with the Shadewing Laureate, this is a little bit awkward. Might be fine just putting up 2 counters onto this. I guess he can just double block and use a Defiant Strike. Or maybe we just have to answer Mavinda because she's just so broken. Doesn't seem great. Yeah, let's just do this. He's going to cast a Defiant Strike here. Put a counter onto one of his Flyers, which is a little bit annoying. Yeah, he can cycle this for free. And I don't even know if it's worth attacking this turn. Yeah, I guess it triggered twice with the Shadewing Laureate. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit rough here. Maybe I'm fine attacking with both of these here. Yeah, let's go for it. If he trades with the Clever Lumimancer, I'm also fine. If he trades with the Blackish Trudge, I'm also fine. I do want the Stonerise Spirit to die. He can load up counters on the Shadewing Laureates. But I might be able to do this eventually. I guess I have the Dispel that can exile and make it into a 3/2 creature. I think it's pretty good on against his board state then. But Mavinda can be very scary in the Silverquill deck, so I think I have to answer her immediately. Slight Break, Sure, and attack. And I should be able to kill him if he isn't careful. So that's 8, 9, 10. He needs 5 more damage. It's not lethal. I guess that's lethal. Yeah, I guess that's lethal here. It's really good. Wow. Oh, yep. Good games. Alright, you deserve Mythic 14. Almost swept the entire quick draft, but got a worthy final boss. Oh well. Close, almost got there. Alright, I guess you can't win them all, but very close. Let's fire this off, and I wouldn't mind a rematch against the same opponent as well. Since it was definitely a close game, and I think I can definitely win against him. But Mavinda was just too powerful. But I think that the attacks were correct on the ground as well. But yeah, show of confidence with Clever Lumimancer. Now you can see the power level of Clever Lumimancer in these Silverquill decks with a lot of pump tricks. Alright, let's get this final boss. Almost got 7-0, very... Right, and this is a good hand. We can Unwilling Greeting Professor into maybe the 3-drop here. Lots of options, but definitely a very good hand. Could always Thunderous Orator, but it's not like I want to cast a Leech Fanatic on turn 2. I do want to maybe cast the... let me see here. This is very very interesting decision. So we play the Thunderous Orator. We do need a flyer, but at least this has Menace and I can start attacking. The Leech Fanatic is also a very interesting decision here as well. Yeah, maybe it's still Professor and we can always swing back. I do want to have a turn 3 play, that curves out nicely, so I think I like this. And then the Inkling Summoning seems pretty good. Can still attack for 1, and we do have a secondary way to learn as well in this deck, so seems fine. Okay, Blackish Trudge is also very interesting. I think I just attack for 1 here and stay back. Opponent can counter my Inkling Summoning with maybe a negate, and that can be a little bit problematic. But I think I still play it. Otherwise, I could Blackish Trudge and then offer a trade, but then he can maybe Arcane Subtraction on. Lots of things can happen. He can counter this easily. Yeah. That was coming. So that derailed my flyer. And then he can look into my deck. See that I'm just straight up Silverquill. I can, at least this has Menace, and I can start giving Menace to the Thunderous Orator as well, which isn't too bad. So maybe I should have just cast a Blackish Trudge, but you know, it was just too good not to play it there. Since he knew about it already, you might as well play it. Sure, I'll take a shock. I'm not even sure if this is even a great shock target, to be honest. And I do think I hunt for specimens here, or Leech Fanatic. I think I like the hunt here. I want to see this guy main deck 2 negates as well. But no one's that crazy, so we'll take Expand Enemy and we'll just drop the Thunderous Orator. And now this will also have Menace. I can surprise him with the Lifelinker as well, and it has Expand Anatomy if the opponent isn't too careful. Could see a Burying Books. So very interesting turn. I think we want to lead with the Leech Fanatic, and I don't think I want to put counters on any of my creatures, since he might hold up a bounce spell. He's going to have Menace here. I guess if he bounces the Unwilling Ingredient, he can block my Thunderous Orator, so maybe I should be careful about that. And if not, we'll just play out the Blackish Trudge. So he doesn't have the bounce spell, because if he did, he would have taken out the Unwilling Ingredient, I think. Guiding Voice seems pretty good here. Guess I can Guiding Voice and Expanded Anatomy. Very interesting choice. The Blackish Trudge is most likely going to trade. I could use on the Leech Fanatic, actually. I actually don't mind just having the extra threats. It's probably an Arcane Subtraction, I think. We can reduce the memory. I guess for now we can Clever Lumimancer. And maybe I do just Expand Anatomy on the Thunderous Orator, although the Unwilling Ingredient can help me draw a card, so maybe this is fine. And then I'll just attack with these 3. Could attack with the Thunderous, but he can just easily double block it. But it's probably going to be an Arcane Subtraction here, I feel like. Yep. Knew that was coming. So luckily I managed to diversify the threats at least. Right, that's fine. This is not the other creature, and at least I still have a Menacer on a battlefield that can start getting in. And I can also attack with a 1/1 to get back the Blackish Trudge as well, so that's actually not an unreasonable play too. I think I'll do that. Hopefully no Burying Books here, that would be pretty annoying. Because you just bury the Unwilling Ingredient, I'll lose the Menace. And yeah, the token is fine, since I do want to get back the Blackish Trudge and cast it. And then just have another looming threat on the battlefield. And I'll keep the land in hand to surprise him. And this can answer something large too, like a Muse, which I think is worth killing. Pledge Mage is good, but I think we just want to exile this, right? And just attack with all, I think. Yeah, I think I'm fine sending these three, and I'm also fine trading for the 3-2. And both of these have Menace. So could see another Arcane Subtraction, but he's gonna be taking 5 down to 3, which isn't great. Yeah, I think he needs to kill both of these. And we'll list the Pledge Mage first. Hopefully no Arcane Subtraction. Probably the second Arcane. Yeah. People have been taking this card really lightly. He's just such a huge overperformer. But maybe I can cycle this away and get a flyer next turn. We'll see. Yeah, we'll play this out. As much as I like to play around Introduction and Annihilation, I don't mind him casting this so I can just draw a card. Serpentine Curve, okay. Just get this flying and kill him. Pillar Drop Rescuer. Could just cycle the Unwilling Ingredients. I used up all my tokens already, right? Yeah, the Inkling Summoning is already gone. So I might just want to cycle this Unwilling Ingredient this turn and then hopefully find a Magecraft card for the Silverquill Pledge Mage. Closing Statement is a nice one. I think we just want to move to no attacks, and then end the turn we want to cast the Closing Statement here on this creature, and then put a counter onto, I guess, the Thunderous Orator. Doesn't really matter here. I can also get this flying next turn as well with the Pillar Drop Rescuer, so I just want to diversify while I can. And it should just be game over here. I can't really think of 2 mana. I guess he could have a Shock, like, maybe I play this and he casts Shock on it, then it's game over, but we just have an Eliminate here, which is just great, so we can play both. We can Pillar Drop Rescuer here. Get back. Professor, I guess. Don't think it really matters. Cast the Eliminates. Kill the Prismari Pledge Mage, and then just go to town and gaze. Yep. There you guys have it. Almost got 7-0, but got derailed by a stronger Silverquill deck, or at least someone who drew better or had better cards. That basically means he has a stronger deck, but yeah, pretty quick draft for you guys. So now you guys can see the power of Silverquill, which I also think is just a really strong tier 1 archetype. Straight up, Silverquill is really strong, Quandrix is really strong, and Temur, I think, is really powerful. And they still haven't fixed the bug where they only show 2 colors, so we're gonna rename this draft. Yep. Is it 2 L's or 1 L? Not sure. I think it's 1 L, right? Let me look it up one moment. Okay, it's 2 L's, never mind. Silverquill, bot, draft, 7-1. Very close. Very close, almost 7-0. You know what, I'm just gonna name it almost 7-0. But we were 7-1, unfortunately. But yeah, seems like a really solid deck. Don't sleep on Clever Luminmancer, guys. Even though it's not great in every Silverquill deck, in the right Silverquill deck, it's just, it can get out of hand, and it's almost a card that the opponent must answer right away. And it being a 1-drop is just very efficient as well. So in the Silverquill deck, you just want to play multiple threats that are very evasive, that kind of force the opponents to answer them with. So then every single card that you play is just a constant threat that's looming over and chipping in until the opponent's life points get to 0. But very close deck. You know, there's definitely more busted Silverquill decks with like multiple Killions and maybe like 2 copies of Closing Statements and even Rise of Exodus on turn 6. But yeah, this one is still really solid and still managed to get to almost 7 wins without too much removal spells. Hall of Oracles was also insanely busted in some of our matchups too. But yeah, that being said, I think it's time for us to add this to our deck list. And then, is there a way to fix this setting? It's it's showing all the colors, but we're basically only 2 colors. I don't know what's going on anymore. Did they fix this? I'm gonna have to look that up. But anyways, this is just a 2-color Silverquill deck, and we're just gonna claim our prize here, and then pretend we're drafting some more Silverquill. As much as I would love to do a new draft, unfortunately the quick draft is just Strixhaven, which isn't too exciting. Yeah, pack one, pick one, probably rip apart here. Unfortunately, I opened up most of the rares and mythics already, so we don't have the choice. We don't have the. Sometimes we won't have the ability to analyze the rares and the mythics with the uncommons and the commons, but rip apart is easily the best card in this pack. Mage Duel is great. Counterspell is also great in Academic Dispute. Yeah, I would take Counterspell over Mage Duel. Just 2-mana counter any target spell is incredibly powerful. And don't get don't get trapped by the idea that that a counterspell isn't good in limited, because a 2-mana counterspell and a 3-mana counterspell does make a huge difference. It is double blue, but it's not too difficult to assemble in the set, since blue has tons of ways to draw cards and hit their land drops. But just double blue counter anything is just really powerful. So yeah, I would take Counterspell here. Another great card that has also been people been sleeping on is Academic Dispute. This card is just very good, very potent, very efficient. 1 mana, make a creature block if able, draw a card. I mean, Learn is really nice. I would still probably take Mage Duel over it, since it's a little bit less situational, since it's just a good fight spell that can enhance a creature and deal with threat. But Academic Dispute is also really solid at times. If you're able to 2-for-1 the opponent, like for example, if you have like a large creature, force the opponent's creature to block, kill it, and then Learn, this card is quite powerful. In certain situations, I can see Academic Dispute being better than Mage Duel, but I think Mage Duel is just more consistent and less situational than Academic Dispute. This is still a really good card though, so don't sleep on Academic Dispute. So I would probably go Counterspell, Mage Duel, and do Academic Dispute in this pack. But yeah, that being said, hope you guys enjoy this video. Got another nice 7-in-1 with the bot draft, and maybe we'll just have to draft more Silverquill, more Strixhaven, unfortunately, since the next set is not going to be out until I don't know when, in maybe 2 months. And then in the meantime, there's still Modern Horizons 2, which is a master set that we have to that's going to be pretty fun for me to analyze, but unfortunately I can't really showcase it since I don't do Moto. I did have a couple of Moto games on my playlist, but I don't really like the user interface for it, since it just feels really ancient and outdated. No disrespect, but it just, playing on Arena feels a lot more fluid. But yeah, anyways, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you draft those Silverquill decks. Make sure you draft those Quadrix decks and those Teamer decks, and just win your games at your Friday Night Magic or local tournaments. Yeah, have a good one, and take care. Bye.